Hello everyone, and judging by the title, you know what this video is about, and it is about my views on assisted suicide. And this isn't really something I can relate to, but this is something I feel very, very strongly about, and I see a lot of people talk about it and talk against or defending it. And I'm basically here to give you my take and my view on this. Now, in order to know about this type of stuff, you need to know about what is assisted suicide. And the thing with assisted suicide is that it's connected to terminal illness. And terminal illness, which by the way I have a definition of it, well I wouldn't say definition of it, but I have a bit of a thing here on the internet, right here up. And one of the things about terminal illness is this. I'm reading directly from Wikipedia. I will shoot you a link of it. It says, terminal illness is a disease that cannot be cured or adequately treated, and that is reasonably expected to result in the death of the patient within a short period. So knowing of the aspect of terminal illness in particular is the main aspect of knowing it. And like I read here, is that terminal illness is basically life expectancy pushed to a short limit of your own disease. That, like I said here on Wikipedia, which once again I will say I have a future link for down below in the description, is that it says it's a disease that cannot be cured. I'm sorry to say it, but there is no hope with it. And I do believe in assisted suicide. Why? Because it's just gonna make it shorter. And I know that it's just gonna be so hard and difficult dealing with the pain of the last person. But here's the thing: is that it's better to not let them suffer for that than to keep them alive for your own damn satisfaction. And I can sincerely say to anyone out there that is very, very selfish of you to keep that person alive from dying. I know. Last year, my pet cat, Angelica, I love this cat. I absolutely adore this cat. To me, I consider this cat of mine a daughter in a weird twisted type of sense of it. And last year she was brutally injured. She was brutally injured by a raccoon, and at certain points we can tell, like, she had back problems. She had intestinal problems. There's so many things wrong with her. And by middle August, me, my mom, my dad, and my sister, we were just like, okay, at this point we can tell that by the end of this year or January, she's gonna die. And at that point, we were kind of accepting the point that, eventually she was gonna die. But we didn't know we were speculating for a whole month. For a whole month, we were ignoring her, and we were thinking about more the problems of her. And about that is that, I'm sorry. Check. Is that we were focusing so much on the problem, we were forgetting about the actual person who was suffering from it, and that was my cat. Now, I'm not saying it's the ignorance or the failure of my family and me of it, but we were just but I am admitting for myself that we were kind of ignoring the person who was suffering for it, and we were just focusing mainly on the problem. And guess what happened? A few days before, like a week before Halloween, like the time, like me, my mom, and my sister, we went out for like a pumpkin patch. We got some pumpkins, and as soon as we came back, my dad told me that she died, and I cried. I cried like a fucking baby, and I cried like a bitch. I cried so terribly. it was a literal loss to my family, and I'm still suffering from it. A whole year later, it's hard to accept the fact that that the animal or person you love is dead and they're gone. I know I'm not alone on this. My mom, my dad, both my mom and my dad, they have both lost both of their fathers. Just recently, in my channel, I admitted my dad lost his mom. He doesn't have, his parents are not alive anymore. I feel so fucking bad for him. Having the aspect of not having your parents with you, physically, is shocking. It's horrid. Who can even think like that? And sometimes just thinking about that can really change your view on this universe. And thinking it can change your view on your life. And it really shocks you and makes you think about, like, your views on death and your views on religion. Like, why is this happening to them? Why do they deserve to happen? Why does this happen to them? They don't deserve to die. Why? They were the kindest and most sweetest people ever. I mean, all wonder that. I know we all wonder that, and there's... Well, it's best that, it's trying to get back on track, is that thing about all this is that, like last year in October, my cat died, and it was so fucking difficult getting over that, and I'm still not over that. I still am upset, and I am still shocked that my family, including me, we admitted to getting a cat a mere month later, and I wasn't strong enough to deal with the fact that I could take another cat after her loss. I've had her for 15 years. How could anyone not reasonably understand that? My friend Trevor, his dog just passed away, and he's had that dog for 14, 13 years. And I haven't seen my friend Trevor since August. And it's just the idea. I do believe in assisted suicide. And people say, well, you just experience, what people say right now, well, you just express so many personal views and things like that happened. But the thing about the terminal illness of the assisted suicide is that the terminal illness is the aspect of knowing that ultimately this person will die of their causes. That as long as they can say, hey, I'm still living, it's that you are day by day, you're getting closer to death. Every day, every hour, every minute, every second, you're getting closer to death. And a lot of people, including myself, will have the mentality of saying, yes, that we all know that. That's our number one fate as humans. We will eventually die. But it's the aspect of it being more closer than ever. And I know it's shocking. I know it's hard to take. But it's, like I said before, is so selfish of us to, for personal gain and for personal love and compassion, to keep them still alive. Because if you keep them still alive, they're going to be suffering more and more and more. And granted, you may be happy because, yay, she's alive and I can be with her before her last days. But think about it like this. It's terrible because of you. The aspect of, because I'm just saying this. If you truly loved your cat, you wouldn't have let her suffer. And that is something that I now have to admit. I have let my cat suffer to death. That's my fault. But it's not just my fault. My cat, she fought so hard. She was a determined cat who fought for quite a bit of months, like 4 or 5 months, until her body ultimately gave up from it. So, it's the aspect of taking that life. Like, I know you're gonna say, or my mom, or my grandma, or grandpa, or my brother, or my pet, or my father, or my sister, or my friend. I know it's difficult to accept it, but it's more hard to let them live and to keep them still alive of it than ultimately knowing their own demise. And I don't want anyone who's watching this video right now to get confused. I'm telling you directly is that it's more selfish to let them live of your own personal gain. Jesus Christ. Like I said before, is that it's more selfish to let them live. And I know that you love them. And I know that you care for them. And I know you truly do love them. And I'm not denying that. But what I am saying is that letting them live longer and longer and longer while continually suffering and continuously understanding the aspect of knowing that they will ultimately die, which I've also said before is that is of course of us humans, is that of course is that it is our ultimate fate to die. But like I said before in this video, is that it's just more closer for them, and they're suffering mentally and physically. It will fucking horrify these people to have that. Like, no, all of us right here, right now, who's watching this, who's not depressed or not in that situation, just think about it like that. Would you want to continue suffering day after day after day, suffering, coughing up blood, being absolutely fucking miserable, and asking yourself to get at least a fucking needle or anything that's sharp just to jam it through your own throat and just cut off your own life? I'm saying it's more selfish to keep these people alive and suffering than to keep them dead and at least not having acknowledgement that they have to that they don't have to go through it suffering and through agony. Because I'm just saying, above all things, it is more selfish to let these beings live and suffer than to die and have it a bit more over with. Because in the end, they know they're going to die. And maybe I understand that too. One day I will die, and I understand that, and I kind of do accept that. But just like these people, is that I'm fucking scared. I'm fucking scared of it. Every day, I live it. I live every day. That's one of my biggest philosophies, is that I live every day like it's my last. Because I don't know my own fate. We create our own destiny. We create our own. We create our own destiny, but we cannot escape fate. Fate is reality. Destiny is the way we make it. And last thing I'm going to end this video on is that death is always around the corner. He is just looking at his time clock and saying, when is it going to be your turn? And I'm going to say is that I may need more tea. Because the thing with that is that there's going to be fate, or the Grim Reaper, or it doesn't matter if your religious beliefs, it says, or your own views of death, is that is more selfish to keep these people alive and suffering day after day after day than to keep them dead, and at least having the acknowledgement that they don't have to suffer for it. I don't want anyone to suffer for death. If my friends were dying, I would at least make it quick and painless for them than long, drawn out, and in agony. If my friends, if my family was dying, I would at least take that in consideration. Or at least at most, I would at least say, how would you want to end this? You know you're going to die eventually. And granted, you can't control it, but it's how you end with the attitude. And in the end, I think this video pretty much cleared up on not just assisted suicide, not just death, but about fate and destiny. Is that we create our own destiny, but we cannot escape fate. Thank you, and I will see you in the future. My tea is gone cold.